Good morning. It's 7:03 on this Friday, July 17th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody. Welcome on a Friday morning. The sun is shining here in the good old summertime, and it's July 17th, Friday morning. We are on the air for Wilson Bank and Trust. We've got Jim Watley with us today. Jim is a financial advisor with Wilson Bank and Trust and Raymond James, of course, and we welcome you. Good morning.
Morning, Coleman.
I'm glad to see you, of course, and it's always nice to have somebody to talk to. And from time to time, we do talk about investments here as part of what the bank does. And although the investment department wasn't around at the very beginning in 1987, it wasn't too long, I think, till they got the idea. And by the way, I did see Larry Squires yesterday at Brownie Hall's funeral, and he said he missed coming out here and doing the commercial, but you're here to do it this morning. Were you the second one, maybe, that...
I guess I was the third, either third or fourth representative in the program. And it's interesting you bring Larry up. Of course, he did start our investment program kind of in the early to mid-'90s. At that time, it was just himself. A couple of reps come and went into the kind of late 90s. But we're proud to bring that up just from the fact that Larry kind of started that from the ground up. Mm-hmm. And our current manager, who took Larry's place when Larry retired, has just been recognized as a top 30 manager by Bank Investment Consultant magazine. So that's a top 30 program in the nation.
That's Damon
Bates. So we're super proud of Damon and just adding to the foundation that Larry built. And so that's just great recognition, and we're really proud of that. Our team now is 9 advisors spread it throughout the program. I guess we have another 7 or 8, maybe more, in support staff. Uh-huh. So we can be pretty much anywhere within the bank footprint. You've got some investment services, independent services. We have 100% flexibility in terms of what we can do for clients. So it's just a great setup, relationship with Raymond James Financial, and we're proud of the program that Larry started all those years ago.
Well, how long have you been actually doing this?
So I came aboard in '99 with Wilson Bank. I got licensed back in '87, so I've been at it a little while.
So you've been doing investments ever since you've been with Wilson Bank, then?
Yes, sir.
You didn't start out as a teller or in the backside like Matt Griffin or something?
No, I spent quite a few years with Prudential Investments, and then some time I got into the bank systems through First American Bank, the old Tennessee bank, and landed with Wilson Bank and Trust in '99, and it's been just a great ride. Something I've been really proud of.
No doubt. And I know you've got more you want to tell us today, but a little history is always good to start out with.
It is, and of course the bank is growing, spreading our wings. And in the investment department, just want to let people know, rates are at an all-time low. This is great for borrowers, and it's, of course, good for the bank. But if you're a saver, that's not all that good. So,
and you do have alternatives.
We do have alternatives. Come see us in this low-rate environment. We got fixed income solutions, CD alternatives. Just find an advisor you can ask at any of our branches, and we can have an advisor to you pretty quick. Stocks have made a nice recovery. It's been a roller coaster year, of course, with COVID and rate cuts, oil crisis, and any other number of chaotic things. But the market is still significantly discounted from the highs. If you look at the broad market, I know some of the tech stocks have reached new highs, but kind of the small and mid-cap stocks are still fairly discounted. So we think that that's an area that, as we continue to kind of get back to work and find some normalization in business, that these small and mid-cap companies are probably a good value right now if you look at long-term returns, 3 to 5 years. I mentioned oil. That might be another area that, if you, in the name of buying what's low, those are good areas. You get good dividends right now in those if you want to buy the high-quality stuff, is what we would say. So coming into the year, we said we would have volatility. We sure didn't expect it would be like this. But, it's an election year. Yeah. And ultimately, elections have kind of short-term impact on markets. So we're expecting more volatility, into the third and fourth quarter. But historically, just to remind folks, elections have very little impact on markets in the long run. They will have some short-term volatility. Like I mentioned, this year seems to be particularly contentious. But if you look at historical results, you can hardly recognize the elections every 2 to 4 years.
And I suppose that old adage about buy low and sell high is still, that's never going to change, I don't think.
We do think the lows are in from all this, particularly the virus. Mm-hmm. So any significant dips are probably great times to put money in, again, if you have a longer-term perspective. Yes, sir.
Well, that's a good synopsis this morning, I think. And Jim, you are a financial advisor, CLU. I didn't say that, but that certified life underwriter. That is a nice title to have as well as financial advisor. And since we did talk about investments, we better tell everybody there's some risk involved.
Risk involved. We're out in Mount Juliet, by the way. There's 3 of us out there, so come see us. But obviously, we're in a bank. Just want to make sure folks understand there's no FDIC insurance unless we're using some other bank. There is risk, possible loss of principal anytime you're investing in market-based investments.
Jim, always good to see you, and thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Coleman.
All right. We are 10 minutes after the hour, and I've invited my friend Al Ashworth to be my guest. I think he's still in the lobby, but Al, you can come on in. We've got a lot to talk about this morning, and I did not say, I always do. Wilson Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender, still here, still independent, still committed to you. They are Middle Tennessee's community bank, excellence in banking since 1987. We are 10 and a half minutes after the hour, and Al Ashworth has joined us. He's also still here and still independent.
I'm still something, Coleman.
I think you're still committed to both of us, to most of us. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Good to have you with us today.
Yes, sir.
For those of you who don't know, Al, I think you were born here. You grew up in Lebanon, and has made his business home on West Main Street with Custom Color.
Custom Color Photo.
Custom Color, which will give you a little commertal here
there
this
you
morning.
Go. That's okay.
That's kind of been, I think, your livelihood, but it's certainly not been all you've been doing all these years.
Not by a long shot.
You've written a number of books. You're involved with other things and quite active on Facebook.
I'm pretty active. Just about, you can find me anywhere on social media. But of course, yes, I tend to look for topics and make my voice be heard for sure.
Well, I told you the other day I needed a guest, and you're always a good one, regardless of the situation, really. And I said I don't exactly know what we're going to talk about, but the times we're in, we've never experienced, I don't think ever, anything that. We may have had some similar situations to the COVID-19 coronavirus, but the impact that it has made and the way people have reacted to it is totally different.
Yeah, and I guess you can contribute that to social media, the access to so much information. I was just talking about my main reading material when I was growing up with comic books. So, so now you can pretty much have a say through Facebook, as you just said earlier, and other social media sites.
Is it maybe the prominent one? To be honest, it's the only one I've had anything to do with. But there's what are?
Well, you have, of course, you got Twitter.
Twitter, yeah.
Now you have something called Parlay that a lot of conservatives are using. So there's a lot of different options out there, and that's what makes people complain about America. But we have so many great options here. We're so fortunate that we live in a country where if you have a great idea, there's really nothing stopping you but yourself. And so I commend these individuals who have, started these companies and given people an opportunity to practice their opinion giving.
Feelings can really run high sometimes.
Oh, yes.
And such diverse opinions.
Oh, yes, no doubt about it. We live in this country, and I try to impose that my opinion is just that. It's just an opinion. It's just something we all have a right to, and I think we should all respect others as well in that regard.
Well, here lately, it seems, I don't think I'm exaggerating here. It seems there are some who, if your opinion differs much from theirs, I mean, they are ready to throw you overboard. You're the devil personified.
Yeah. Well, you have to stand your ground. It's not for the faint of heart. I'll be honest with you. It's something I really think about as a writer, and you mentioned that. As a writer, I dip my quill in several topics, and I can go, right now I'm writing a book that's pretty much finished, but it's a satirical book, and it's called I'd Rather Be Fishing by a Wedding Photographer. And it's rather funny. I mean, it's a lot of funny.
And I got to say, I'd rather be fishing by
a wedding photographer. You got to think about that one, Coleman, for a
second.
second.
Now, you are a wedding photographer.
I have not done weddings as a general rule for a few years, but since the early 80s, I was doing approximately 40 weddings a year. So I've done quite a few weddings.
Boy. I'm not sure I get this, but do you like to fish?
I loved it. I used to go daily.
Yeah.
And I really would like to, when I retire, that's probably what I'm going to go back to do, Coleman, is go back to the lake. But I just write. It's going to be a funny.
So you're about finished with it?
It's finished. Unfortunately, my best friend that walked me through 7 books, he recently had a stroke and passed away. But we're just about finished with the project. Due to this virus, we put it on the back burner for a little bit because of the timing. When you release a book, you typically have already booked dates to do book signings.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of prep work that you have to go into.
I'd rather be fishing by
a wedding photographer.
By a wedding
photographer, yeah.
All right. Well, you should be able to remember most of the title there.
Well, my last book is still out there that, a lot of people talk about. It's No Snow Days.
Yeah.
I was just recently talking to someone concerning not making excuses. And that's the book. That's the one that I wrote concerning my life, concerning growing up here in this community.
Right.
I even discussed the General Hatton in the book. And my thoughts on that as well. So it's pretty much out there. If you want to know my thoughts and want to know my opinions, you can pretty much
It's
find
still
it.
available.
It's still available.
Where you get it?
Oh, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it, you can buy it direct. You can go to my website at alfonsoashworth.com if you want to grab a copy. And it is still a very book. It's a topical book because if you're local, you can find out a lot of information that in my era, when I grew up, growing up in the projects, going to Castle Heights Military Academy, it was a lot of wonderful things that I was very blessed to be involved in.
Well, I hope you still have a bunch of sales on that one. Yeah. We got to take a break here. Al Ashworth with us, Alfonso Ashworth. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:19. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. We want to thank our friends at Bates Ford. They've got the low price tire guarantee on all tires every day. Up to 30 days after the sale, there'll be any competitor's pricing on the tires they sell. 1670 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Just a few more minutes on the paperwork on that wreck at Ezell Pike at Bush Road. Starting to get busy out here on the normal spots. Coming down I-40 through Mount Juliet. That traffic flow leaving Wilson County, headed into Hermitage right now. Just typical traffic flow there coming out of Jolton on 24 eastbound up by Whites Creek Pike. Hey, for the perfect getaway just outside Gatlinburg, check out Cosby Creek Cabins. Log on today, CosbyCreekCabins.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
The Pavilion Senior Living residents are inviting you to become their new neighbor. If you're looking for a sign to move, call us at 444-5556 to learn more about the details. Or go to thepavilionseniorliving.com for more information. Or better yet, just drop by 1408 Medical Center Drive right behind Tenova Hospital and see for yourself. You should move here.
Gregory Dental in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from University Medical Center. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Bador Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
With churches not being able to gather, we wanted to make sure our audience is aware of our regular Sunday morning programming. We call it God's Country. Starting at 7 to 7:15, it's Southern Gospel and Positive Country Music. Then at 7:15 to 7:30, Old Path Missionary Baptist with Brother Jason Wheely. From 7:30 to 8, it's The Gospel Show, hosted by Miss Dean. 8 o'clock, it's College Hills Church with Minister Wilson McCoy. At 8:30 to 9, it's Word of God broadcast by Ronnie Briley. From 9 to 9:30, Hillcrest Baptist Church with Pastor John Ferguson. From 9:30 to 10:30, it's Call on God Today, hosted by Brother Kenneth Bowen. At 10:30, it's another message from College Hills Church. From 11 to 11:30, Maple Hill Church with Minister Rob Long. And from 11:30 to noon, it's Southern Gospel and Positive Country Music. Join us each Sunday on WANT or WCOR or online at WANTFM.com.
This is Glenn Denton, candidate for school board, Zone 5. I'd so much appreciate your vote. I believe in loyalty to all, that I will represent you uncompromising. Opportunity for all. I will stand for our teachers and for our employees, and I will see that they're treated fairly. Responsibility above all. People will be held accountable for the things they do. I encourage you today that if you will make the change, I will do my best to make the difference. Vote Glenn Denton for school board, Zone 5, paid for by Glenn Denton for school board, Zone 5.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us here on a sunny Friday morning. Al Ashworth is with us. Alfonso,
Yes,
Al
sir.
for short. But you mentioned in your book, and I've got to have a copy of that. I've been intending to get one, just never have. You got one at your office?
Yes, come by and I'll sign you one.
All
Come
right,
on.
I'm going to do that first chance I get. But you mentioned General Hatton, you said, in the book.
Oh, yeah.
I've not read the book. I've heard you talk about it. I
Oh, yeah.
want to read it because I'm going to learn a lot about you.
Yes, you will.
But what about General Hatton? What do you recently, I know Mayor Ash
Yes.
had a meeting, I think you were there, and several community leaders and so on, and you discussed this. And
Right.
there are some people who feel that General Hatton doesn't belong on the square. I guess we could say it like that.
Right.
And don't feel good about that. Of course, he was in the I prefer to call it the war between the states.
That's what we called it for years when I was the war between the states.
And I think he hesitated even about fighting with the Confederates, but
Right.
because for whatever reason he did, and he got killed in battle, and
Right.
and the monument's been erected there, I believe, since 1912.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, correct.
1912. But there's some people who feel that it doesn't belong. What are your feelings on that?
Well, my feelings on the subject is very well known, that people who have talked to me, or like I said, I wrote about it in my book. General Hatton has never stopped me from doing anything I want to do in life. I don't tend to focus on inanimate objects when it comes to my rights and what I have as a person. And I'm not trying to walk a thin line. I'm very blunt about it. If you allow these things to upset you or offend you, really it's on the person that's offended. Like I said in my book, I walked that block many times. For years, I wondered who he was when I was younger. But I always admired the idea of the city of Lebanon and its history. And being a writer, I'm very sensitive to that because we have to be willing to accept history for what it is. History is not black or white, brown or green, yellow, purple, or anything. It's history. It's what we have lived through, and we should study history. We should appreciate it. So removing the monument is not going to change people's hearts or minds about these subjects. So I just think it's something we should focus on other things in the community.
Do you think the rule we've recently had? I believe even a statue of Christopher Columbus was destroyed.
Sure.
We've had there was one, I can't remember where it was, but something that seemed to have nothing to do
Well, the
with
Emancipation Monument. You know, people want to remove the Emancipation Monument where Lincoln, freed the slaves, and this monument was paid for by former slaves. I just can't see the benefit of erasing history. It just seems to boggle my. It goes against everything I was taught in school. I can remember. I love history. I love ancient history. I love U.S. history. I love all sorts of history. As a reader, I just love to read and find out how people lived. Well, if you remove these memorials and you remove these monuments, well, how are you going to remember those things for what they were? You know, of course, the Civil War, for some, I keep hearing people say, well, the South lost the war, the South lost the war. Yeah, but they were still people who fought for what they believed in. And if you want to look at it from that perspective, the people thought they were being invaded.
Yeah.
They felt like they were being invaded.
Some have called it the War of Northern Aggression.
Yes. So I guess it depends on which side you look at.
Right.
But the monument, the General Hatton, should stay. He should stay.
What do you have any feeling for what's going to happen here? I mean, you attended the meeting. You've surely been.
Let me say Let me say right off the bat, I appreciate all opinions that were at the meeting on both sides, and I'm hoping that cooler heads will prevail. Destroying the monument, defacing the monument is not going to solve anything. If anything, it's going to set back race relations in this community for a very, very long time. So I just warn anyone out there.
What do you think about what has happened, say in the last month or 6 weeks here, with all the unrest and the looting and the buildings being destroyed and all this? Is race relations taking a big downturn?
I really don't know if it's about race relations, more so that it's about the fascists, the ones who are wanting to destroy this republic. It's not so much to me about the race problem. It's about people wanting to destroy our freedom. And this is a big time in this country. We're coming up on probably the biggest presidential elections of my lifetime. And it's, for some people, it's for all the marbles. It's for everything. Mm-hmm. Some people say if Trump loses, it's over. Some people say if he wins, it's over. So, yeah.
Have you, because of the stand that you've taken at times, you have a number of critics. Have you been threatened? Not in
the sense, I guess, no more, no less, that I was threatened when I was against the stadium, the football team coming here. Now, it's
the Titans.
The Titans. I was actually banned from one of the stations in Nashville because I took the stance that I felt like if the taxpayers were going to pay, that we should be providing up-to-date books for all Tennessean children. That was my stance, Coleman. And I was banned from this radio station, not going to call it a very popular radio station. I was told by the producer to never call back.
Well, it does show you're not afraid to take a stance.
No, I'm not afraid to take a stance. And I think that is the essence of being an American. That's the very essence of being American, is be willing to take a stand and understand you live in the greatest country in the history of the world.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. I don't think anyone can really argue that.
Well, you I guess we got a couple of minutes here. Keep on keeping on. You're still going to write. You're still going to express your opinion.
Yes.
You try to do it in a nice way. Civil way, yeah.
I try to shake hands when I can. Social distance, of course. I got my mask. You're a witness.
Yeah, you got your mask. You don't have it on, but you have it.
Coleman, you don't have enough time for me to talk about masks today, but in any case, we do live in a time where I believe that there's a lot to be concerned about, but we need to stay focused on the big picture. If we lose this republic, it's going to be written in history that most of us sat on the sideline and did absolutely nothing to try to preserve it.
Well, one other thing that just galls me, it just the idea of defunding the police.
Right.
You're asking for anarchy, chaos.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't think it's a race problem that we're dealing with. I think the anarchists, the Antifa, and those type have infiltrated these groups. And now we see it that they are in every facet of our society, to where they're defaming our property, they're destroying personal property.
Just why? How did this happen? How has it come about? Is it
history? Study your history, folks. This happened in Europe. This is how it started. They started demanding people defund their police. They started taking over all your institutions, and here we are. And it's a battle, and it's going to be a battle for some time until we ultimately, I believe, we'll win it.
Well, that is a good note to end on, but thank you so much for coming out. I always appreciate your visits, and we'll do it again sometime.
Thank you, Coleman. Appreciate it.
Al Ashworth, and that is part one of Coleman and Company. Please keep it here for more FM 98.9.
And it's 7:31. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at, let's see, how about Absolute Kubota and Rental? Large inventory of new and used Kubota mowers, RTVs, hay equipment, and more. Come in Saturday. Free popcorn. Check out the new Kubota products, 1325 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still looks good coming up through Brentwood right now as we check it out live here on 65 northbound passing Concord Road. It was a minor wreck a few minutes ago, and again, it was just very minor. 24 westbound near 440 next to Murfreesboro Pike. Traffic still looking good coming in through Mount Juliet on I-40 westbound. Hey, for that perfect getaway just outside Gatlinburg, check out Cosby Creek Cabins. Log on to CosbyCreekCabins.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
During this pandemic, people have cleaned out their closets, decluttered their homes, and improved their landscaping.
Well, now since your home is looking good, maybe you should think about selling it, but you don't have a clue what you might could get for it.
You can call us to come out and give you a market value price with no obligation.
Remember, don't make a move without us.
Call Judy Cox or Medina Himmentoller at Exit Rocky Top Realty. C&D Team 443-3130.
My name is John Hunn, and I've spent 17 of my 57 years in Wilson County. All 4 of my children are Lebanon High School grads. Lexus and I care deeply about public education, and that's why I support my friend Larry Tomlinson. I'm so thankful that he's been a voice for all students, regardless of where they live or their economic status. I'm also thankful as well that he's always been available to discuss education topics reasonably and rationally. He has a proven record that speaks for itself. I hope you will vote for my friend, Larry Tomlinson.
Paid for by the committee to elect Larry Tomlinson, Kathy Adams, treasurer.
Showers and storms are in the forecast today, so you need to pack the umbrella. Highs today will top out in the low 90s. On Saturday, we have just a slight chance of storms in the afternoon. Temperatures on Saturday will soar into the mid-90s, so make sure to stay hydrated. More hot weather is in the forecast on Sunday. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty. Professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
Coleman and Company, welcome to part 2. Here on a Friday morning, it's our time to welcome our people, the C&D team from Exit Rocky Top Realty. We've got Miss Judy, we got Medina today, and I mean, who could ask for anything more? The C&D team is located on West Main Street. They've been there for years. They offer great service. Somebody answers the phone 24 hours a day. They're people you can trust. And Miss Judy, get us started.
Well, you know, we talked about inspections last week, and I thought I would finish up a little bit.
Oh, you didn't get through.
Well, there's different kinds of inspections.
She's never finished, Coleman.
We could talk all day. But there's different kinds of inspections. There are exactly the home inspection that we talked about last week.
But in that umbrella is a termite inspection.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, well, I've already got my house checked for termites and I don't have any termites. And I'm like, well, how long ago has that been? About 3 years ago, they came out and checked. Well, for when you're doing a closing, the termite letter, most banks require that it be less than 30 days old. So, if you're going to put your house on the market, don't go out. You can go out and have your house checked, but don't get your clear termite letter, because we want to keep that, and ever who did your inspection, if you're a clear inspection, then when it gets ready to close, within that 30-day frame, then you'll call your termite company and tell them that you need your clear letter, and they can do that for you. And it's according to what kind of loan you're getting on a house. The termite inspection, once they do it, there's 3 blocks that they're going to mark. You're either going to have live insects or you're going to have dead insects, a past treatment. And if they mark it's live, of course, you're going to have to get it treated in the state of Tennessee. You can't sell a house with termites unless the buyer agrees to buy it like that.
Okay.
And then if it says dead termites, it might say there's been evidence that there's been termites before, but there's no live ones. So there's usually no treatment necessary if that's what they mark. Then the other block can say there has been termites, they've been treated, but it's caused some damage. Now, some loans like a VA loan or FHA loan, if you've got termite damage, most of those loans are going to require you to get that damage repaired. If it's, missed up the wood underneath the house or whatever, they're going to make you get that repaired before closing. So those are things to keep in mind. And also, most of the termite companies will check, too, if you don't have a vapor barrier under your house. And that's that heavy plastic that they lay down underneath the house, and it's to help with the sweating of the vaporization of the water under the house, the dampness, and most loans require that. Now, if it's conventional, some conventional loans some bankers say, yeah, you got to have the vapor barrier. Some say, no, it's okay. So that's something, and a lot of termites companies will put that down, and then there's other companies that can put that down for you. So those are things you want to kind of keep in mind. So, and a lot of people have a termite contract. They say, oh, I've got a contract where every year they come and check. Well, if you've got a termite contract with somebody, make sure and check that it's not going to expire before your house sells. We had one other day where the people let it expire like 3 weeks before closing, and then come up, they had some termites. Well, the people that had been, in contracting it for the last year, it was out. So don't let it expire. And a lot of the termite contracts are transferable to the next buyer. So look at that and call your termite guy and go, okay, if I sell my house, is mine transferable? And that helps you out so you don't lose any money there. But a termite thing is something you want to check, because termites can keep a house from closing.
Your experience just shows. You say it so well. You've been there and done that, and that's been your livelihood and your life a lot for a long time. How many years you?
26.
Okay.
Going on 27.
And you're learning a lot, aren't you, Medina?
Oh, every day.
Well, it never changed. You never learn everything. That's one thing. If you're a real estate agent, there's always new laws, new things that come up, and there's always something different at a closing that never happened to you before.
Really?
So it always, if you think you've arrived, you haven't.
And when you think that, it takes the cake, but no, it don't. There's something else that's bigger and coming around the corner.
You got some listings for us?
Yes, I do. We have an open house this coming Sunday.
Okay.
And we have it at 131 Springfield Drive. It's in Farmington Woods subdivision, which is right off of Carver Lane. And it is 5 bedrooms, 3 full baths, 1 half bath, and a little bit over 3,200 square feet.
It's a big house.
Yes, it is. It's a big, beautiful house, white glove clean. That means you can bring your stuff and put in it. You don't have to clean it before you come. It is perfect, let me tell you. And anyway, when you walk in the door, you have this big den, the study, the dining room, and the kitchen, all right there. It's kind of all open living space. It's granite countertops, hardwood floors. The master is downstairs with the master bathroom and the walk-in closet. Then you go upstairs and you have 4 more bedrooms upstairs.
Well, you got 3 levels there.
We got 2 levels. They got your master on the primary on your main floor, and then 4 more upstairs.
Right, okay.
Now, of that 4, one of those has a sitting room in it and another little room in it, so it could be a second master or a teenage quarters or something else that you want to make it over there that's playroom, however you want to do it. But it is all those rooms upstairs are carpet. The bathrooms are all tile with granite countertops. And it's a wonderful place for kids to grow up in. The subdivision is perfect. It's beautiful. The backyard is nice. It's all level. It has a covered back porch. It has a half wraparound front porch.
Oh.
So those are always nice to sit on and rock on, and everything. But it's listed at $484.9, and so that will be Sunday from 2 to 4.
So you're going to be there?
I'm going to be there, and Judy's going to be there. So we want everybody to come out and see us with masks on and everything.
2 to 4 this Sunday afternoon.
This Sunday afternoon, $484.9 is the price. And then we also have that one still coming soon on Trinity Lane, that it is 3 bedrooms and 1 full bath. And it will be listed at $224.9. So that one is still coming up soon.
All right. Well, we thank you all for being here. About expires our time, but anything before you leave, Miss Judy?
No, I'll let her have the final word.
The final word
have the
is
final word.
always.
Yeah.
She always gets the final word.
Don't make a move without us.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
Miss
you.
Judy, Medina Hemantola, Exit Rocky Top Realty C&D team. They're people you can trust. And as she said, don't make a move without us. We are about 20 minutes before the hour, and I have not one but 2 guests for part 2 this morning. We had a Wilson County Special Called Board of Education meeting last night. Some decisions were made, which we're going to be talking about this morning. Dr. Donna Wright is with us, and we say good morning to you.
Always a good morning.
And good morning to Mickey Hall.
Good morning, Coleman.
Mickey, hadn't seen you in a while. I hope you're not too terribly busy. You're at least not too busy to be here with us today.
We're busy all the time, but I'm glad to be here.
Well, I guess could we just get into last night's meeting? There was some decisions made. I know you made the television news last night at 10 o'clock.
Did I?
Yeah, actually, I saw you. I don't think I saw Mickey, but they saw.
Well, I hope I was coherent at 10 o'clock at night, but and not to make light, last night was a very important meeting. And it was a special called meeting, and just for those that might know, that's outside the normal meeting times of whether it's a regular session or whatever. But when there are issues, things that need to be addressed, a special called meeting occurs, usually at the direction of the board chair. And something that really goes back to June the 8th is a process that we're trying to get in place as a reentry plan for our school district. And that being that with this uncertainty of what we're all dealing with right now is how we open schools, what's the process, what are the protocols, what are the things that we have to be not only aware of, sensitive to, but making sure that in the scope of opening a school, as far as rules, regulations, what is it going to look like? What will be the communication process for parents to understand? But the big thing that was overlying, which I brought up last night, 2 central issues, more or less has emerged out of all this, and it was the wearing of facial coverings or masks. And then the second piece that we sort of distilled after 2 or 3 weeks of walking through questions, as far as that those families that made the decision to go into a virtual model, why they could not get the full breadth of courses offered, particularly in a high school, in a virtual setting. So those were the 2 things that were, I guess, landmark conversations last night that we dealt with. And as you noted, we went up to nearly 10 o'clock. But we had to give time to something that was not only important as a school district, but it was important to families as well.
Well, I think there were 2 that were for the masks being mandatory, and either 4 or 5 who were opposed. Is that right? Is it 4 to 2 or 5 to 2?
It was 2 and 1 abstained, though.
Okay, 4 to 2 with 1 abstention. And so that means that masks are encouraged but not required, pretty much?
Strongly encouraged.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you heard the board chair last night, that was one of the things that he wanted to restate and even ask for a vote from the board members as far as to take a position that, I don't want to speak on behalf of Mr. Tomlinson, but it was almost an apologetic that we strongly encourage and we support that. And also support that those that choose to wear masks, they're supported. And those that choose not to, we're going to support them as well. And so it's really one of those hard positions Coleman is that there's so many pieces behind the vote that you can't add to it as far as to discuss it.
And I believe the TV news story showed some students who were very much in favor of wearing the masks, who were appealing to the board in that way.
A grassroots effort of some of teenagers coming out of the Green Hill, Mount Juliet neighborhoods, community, and as well as there's been other high school students that have joined them as well. They had a petition that started maybe a little over a week ago. They had a little over 2,000 signatures, still growing. And I must say that whether you agree with them or don't agree with them, the civility, the respectful nature, what they did to garner support to more or less get their message across, I mean, you have to take pride in that, and they did a good job.
Okay, so really bottom line here is the board did not require mandatory mask, understanding that some don't necessarily agree with that, but strongly encouraging it.
Strongly encouraging.
And so maybe everybody's not totally happy about this, but it's in a sense maybe somewhat of a compromise.
And to capture it as well, it is our expectation. That's another word as far as if you want to get into it as far as strongly encouraged, but it is our expectation that we wear masks, staff and students. And the thing where we do require it, so if you're going to ride a bus, you will wear a mask. And so there was a little bit of a debate, well, how can you require it on a bus, but you're not going to require it in schools? We do not have to provide bus transportation, but over 10,000 of our students depend on bus transportation. And to minimize as best we can the risk or potential to exposure, we are requiring masks.
Okay. All right, we'll get into the other big thing after we go to a break here. Mickey, we hadn't let you say much, but you are okay this morning.
Yes, sir.
All right. We will take a break right here. This is Coleman & Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:46. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford, and they've got the lifetime brake pad guarantee. With the purchase of a brake service, replacement brake pads will be provided at no cost for as long as the customer owns the vehicle. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic still moving right along, coming through Mount Juliet right now on I-40 into Hermitage. We've only seen a couple of minor wrecks out here in the last 10, 15 minutes, but I tell you, we've seen tons of radar this morning out here as well. Hey, Psychic Nicole can guide you through life's journey. Have a question about your love life or the future? Call Nicole at 615-618-3313. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on-time traffic.
In times of crisis, and especially when you're isolated, it helps to know someone has your best interest at heart. At Wilson Bank and Trust, standing strong for others has always been one of our most important roles, and we're still here for you now. Through these days of disruption and distancing, you can count on us to keep you connected with your financial services, and will continue to provide financial relief for households and businesses. Thanks for supporting our ongoing commitment to service. Working together, we'll weather this storm too. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, this is State Senator Mark Pody. With everything that's going on, I just want to encourage everybody to please be safe and use common sense as the state begins to reopen. We need to get our economy going again. If you have any underlying pre-existing health conditions or issues, or if you're age 60 or older, you need to use the precautions that you feel are needed. Be patient when you go into your local businesses, and remember, we're all in this together. If y'all need any kind of service, please give me a call. This is Mark Pody.
This is Glenn Denton, candidate for school board, Zone 5. I'd so much appreciate your vote. I believe in loyalty to all, that I will represent you uncompromising. Opportunity for all. I will stand for our teachers and for our employees, and I will see that they're treated fairly. Responsibility above all. People will be held accountable for the things they do. I encourage you today that if you will make the change, I will do my best to make the difference. Vote Glenn Denton for School Board, Zone 5, paid for by Glenn Denton for School Board, Zone 5.
You make plans for just about everything for the weekend, for a shopping trip, for your daughter's wedding, but do you have a financial strategy for life? Now may be the perfect time to do it. Waypoint, your future, your way. For more information, call the Lebanon office of Waypoint Financial Partners at 615-444-6548. Securities and investment advisory services offered through AXA Advisors, LLC, 212-314-4600. Member FINRA SIPC. Coleman & Company, thanks for joining us here on a Friday morning. We do have the Director of Schools, Dr. Donna Wright. We have Mickey Paul, Associate Director. Is that the right,
Deputy
Todd? All right. Okay, we did, just to recap, the board voted 4-2 with 1 abstention to not require masks in school, but to strongly encourage it, and that's kind of
Yes.
summarize it. Then the other thing had to do with, I guess, how classrooms are going to be and the virtual education that is maybe available. So I guess get us started there, Dr.
Well, and the thing that we've given parents a choice as far as, those that don't feel confident or comfortable with their children going into that traditional in-person model of when we start school. The virtual is, I don't want to say that it's an extension of a classroom, but they do have the opportunity with the technology that we have available, either as far as being connected to a teacher where they would have synchronous and asynchronous learning opportunities, the synchronous being as far as almost a real time with a teacher working through whatever the lesson, and more or less the asynchronous being that at their pace, at their time. So there is a sort of a motivation, self-motivation that's going to be really critical for virtual learning. All that to say, we can pretty well match up whatever the student was going to be taking as far as K through 8, we can match that up really well. When you get into high school, it becomes difficult matching all the courses. In a high school course catalog, we have over 300 opportunities, including over 100 opportunities in our career and technical field. So you think about how you're going to sort that, and then it becomes even more, complicated or complex when you get to our advanced placement as well as honors courses. And what it boiled down to is that if this is what we would have been taking in a traditional setting, we want the same opportunity in a virtual. Well, there are limitations at that point. And that began, really started as the idea that we are being sacrificed, that if this is the choice we make, then we're getting less than, and that was certainly not the case. And we had a presentation last night by Dr. Kate Bergen, who is our secondary school supervisor, and she walked them through the many options and opportunities, even in a virtual setting, as far as not only dual enrollment, dual credit, earning college credit, as well as an opportunity that for those that want to take the path of early college, for example, that they could earn 60 college credits while they're in high school, graduate with an Associate of Arts degree and their high school diploma. So there was a lot of options, and you could see some of the parents that were in the audience like, oh, we didn't know that. And I don't know that everyone was persuaded, but we have so many opportunities available, whether you're in the classroom or in a virtual setting, that, we're not going to compromise instruction or the delivery of education.
All right. Now, you are saying that some could actually be in school in a total virtual setting. There are some limitations as to what courses they can study, but they can actually do this the whole school year and not set their foot inside the school
Yes, sir.
doors itself.
And in the virtual option, we have guaranteed a semester. It'll be reevaluated at the end of November, simply because we don't know where we'll be as far as the impact of the pandemic at that point, with the hope that nothing really ever replaces. It will not replace that in-person opportunity in a classroom. And so our hope is that everyone would transition back. But should we still be in the throes of what we're seeing right now, we have the models and the options that we can move and particularly if it becomes something that the district shuts down again, moving from that traditional model into our remote setting for everyone, then again, it's the classroom. Time and place becomes irrelevant because the teaching takes place is from the home to the home of the teacher, or the home of, as far as what we hope in a remote setting, our teachers will be sitting in their classroom, no students in it. But that's where all the technology, the materials, the resources, and that's the plan. So we have multiple options, and not one of them being perfect, simply because nothing replaces that classroom.
All right. Now, and at the end of the first semester, then those options will be, you can change either way.
Yes.
For the second semester.
Yes, sir.
That if you've been doing virtual, you could come to school, or vice versa. Okay.
Exactly. And I want to make sure it's understood, though, we will evaluate where we are by the end of November, because then we would make plans if we still are seeing some, as far as the impact from COVID, that we're not seeing a decline. It's still there. and there's still concerns among parents as far as I just don't feel comfortable. We'll put it back in place.
All right. As of now, when does school start?
August 3rd.
All right. And you're under the gun, and I think you've got. I know that the Green Hill High School is not complete at this time, I understand, but you're working on it.
Yes, sir. We have a tremendous amount of work going on over the next 2 weeks to be there on August the 3rd. So, matter of fact, we're headed there after this show. But the contractors and everyone's doing a really good job on getting us to where we are. There will be some things that we have to complete like you would on any construction project, but just wanted to remind everybody, we missed about 145 days on this project due to rain or inclement weather. So to be where we are is still a major feat.
Well, where are we? I mean,
the road, we built a new road in front of the school. They diverted the traffic on some of that this week, and then hopefully next week the new red lights up at the interchange of Benton Douglas and Lebanon Road, and red lights are starting to flash, and they're starting to pave all that. They'll start paving. Start putting the top coat of paving on the parking lots and around the school next Wednesday, and concrete's going everywhere. Football field's going in. So,
what about office furniture, classroom furniture, furnishings? The desks?
Furnishings going in. We've taken 15 trucks in so far. We've got about 10 more to go. So a lot of trucks are coming in and out every day. Classroom furniture's going in classrooms. The administrative furniture's already in the offices.
Is this where most of your attention is directed right now?
It is. And our maintenance staff and our technology staff is working through those issues, making sure they know where everything's at and looking at things like that, and technology's going in.
Are you pretty confident you're going to be able to open on there?
We will open. Yes, sir. We will open on August 3rd. Yes, sir. And our transportation, there's a lot of things that go into, a lot of folks don't understand. You have food service staff they've already moved food and things in. Your transportation staff has to work a new situation out with a new school. Mr. Partlow and his staff's taking care of that. And then Mr. Dawson, and something that's new is that they're going to have a 7th and 8th grade there. So Dr. Angle and Mr. Dawson, they're doing a great job working together and knowing where kids are going to be, how they're going to work in the building, where they're going to put them, and how they flow through the building.
So this is going to be a little bit different from anything you've done before, I think, in a new school opening but you feel like at this time you pretty much got all bases covered, and I know something's going to pop up, most likely that you didn't exactly think about, but for the most part, you feel comfortable about this.
I do. A lot of people are still worried about it, and we do too, but over the next 2.5 weeks, a lot of things are going to change. The building changes every 30, 40 minutes right now because of what's happening with the contractors, but it's really amazing. We're starting to throw some pictures out on our Facebook and Twitter page through Mr. Bart and our PIO, and then Mr. Dawson's also doing it on the Green Hill website as well.
Anything you want to add to that?
Well, the thing I want to remind as far as those that are listening that, we have 2 schools that we lost, displaced 1,700 students. And so part of this model, Mount Juliet Middle School's 7th and 8th grade will be joining the Green Hill high school students, but again, a separation will occur. The logistics are worked out. It's Mickey stayed as far as with the 2 principals working together, but at Mount Juliet High School, we'll have the 7th and 8th grade out of West Wilson Middle School. And so, again, I cannot say enough about our staff that have really worked through the complexities of all these moving pieces. And again, like you said, there will be some things that we maybe didn't anticipate, but that's school.
Well, what difference? You got a new school building you're adapting to for 7th and 8th to be there. But what about the changes, or have you implemented this at Mount Juliet High School?
Well, Mount Juliet High School, the one good thing about 7th and 8th graders is there's not a lot of adapting that has to take place. More of it's scheduling and the staff making sure they have the kids in the right place and they're flowing through the building right. You're doing your lunch room right, and you're having early arrival and dismissal. And then also Stoner Creek's going to be at Mount Juliet Middle School, along with the 6th grade from Mount Juliet Middle and West Wilson Middle. So all these buildings are where we wanted to have some space due to the tornado. They're packed now. Green Hill's going to open up with around 2,000 kids, and Mount Juliet High School is going to open up with about 2,100. And so they're packed, and then Mount Juliet Middle and Stoner Creek, being in that building there, I think they're around 1,400 if I remember the number right.
But everybody's going to have a lunch period.
Yes.
And Coleman, here's the thing too, that I know there was a lot of controversy as far as whether there was a need for the new high school. And I'm grateful beyond belief, because had we not, and no one could have forecasted this, but not to have had that school and then to have lost 2 buildings, I cannot even imagine what the decisions, other than portable buildings, or some suggested maybe putting tents up. But we have a building that's going to be able to accommodate.
Well, you have any time frame for the 2 schools that were damaged to be back online?
We're working on that with the insurance company, trying to negotiate through that on making sure we get the right amount of money to do everything appropriately. And if you go back down through that particular area and watch where that path of that tornado went, there's still a lot of homes that are still standing that need to be replaced and things like that. So this is not a $10,000 claim. I know you've been in the insurance business for a long time, but this is a multi-million-dollar thing, and you have to go through the process. There's a checklist the insurance company uses, and we're going through that process with them right now to get there. So we hope to see some activity there within the next month, at least at one of the schools. You negotiate with one of the schools, and then you go on to the second school. The bus shop we've settled with. There's some athletic fields down there we've settled with. We've settled on putting 45 buses back together. And so those pieces are moving. It's just people don't see those particular items.
We're out of time, but if you need anything you'd like to say is before you go, Dr. Donna Wright.
Well, and again, as I shared with the board last night, please be patient with all of us, as far as that no one has this figured out. And as I shared with the board last night, we have to be fluid, flexible, because things change in 24 hours. Yeah. And I stated that over and over last night, capped with patience.
Well, thank you both for being here. We really appreciate it. Dr. Donna Wright, Director of Schools, Mickey Hall, the Associate Director. And that's it for a Friday. Join us Monday.